What's up, guys? It seems Belgium survived to Spain, at least for most part of the game. I'll tell you what I think and how Spain did just to finally win this game. Let's take a look at the formations. Spain with Unai on the goal, Cucurella on the left back, Kuberi as a center back with Laporte and Pedro Porro on the right. As the midfielders, Fabian and Rodri. Let's remember that Pedri started as a substitution in the game and was replaced by Fabian as a midfielder with Rodri. And then Dani Olmo floating over the forward position. Baena on the left, Lamine on the right wing, and Oyarzabal also floating from the whole forward position. So Spain with a 4-2 in the middle and 3 and Oyarzabal forward position, making a 4-2-3-1. But you will notice that during the game, this formation was changing as they had the ball. They congested the forward positions, and I will show you in a minute. On the other hand, Belgium has 4 in the back with Castagne on the right fullback, and Goy and Michele as the center backs, and Kuiper on the left fullback. As a midfielder, Raskin and Banaken, and on the right, Doku that had a great job, Trossard, the Arsenal winger, Kevin De Bruyne floating as in the midfield, but also as a forward position, and the striker, Ketelare. Belgium was a 4-4-2 at the times. Let's take a look at the general stats. Spain with almost 70% of possession, 629 passes completed. And on the other hand, Belgium with only 260 passes completed, barely 32% of possession-wise. But look also at the match momentum. The game was controlled by Spain. Look at this. Only a few moments of Belgium when they score the goal, and a few moments at the very end of the game when they were losing. So this is classic Spain game where they control the ball, they have more possession, they complete over 600 passes. So let's take a look at the chance creation by both teams. When you look actually at the final third entries, look at Spain, 69 final third entries, a lot of density right here in all the final third entry. And also when you look at the Belgian, only 16 and a few on the wings, empty in the center. But look at the zone 14. Look at Spain right here. Zone 14, like a lot of zone 14 entries. When you compare these with 42 actually, and when you compare this with Belgium, it was only 3. Like really a massive difference right there between Spain and Belgium. But even though that happened, we have to really take a look at the tactics and how the teams were in the field, because that will explain what happened at the very end. Because Belgium was in the game 88 minutes in until Merino scored the second goal for Spain. So let's take a look at the tactics to try to understand what happened during the game. So Belgium, there were 4 people in the back, but they also have 4 in the middle. These 8 players actually, they were really forming a defensive block. When you look actually at the defensive block by Belgium, they were really defending in this part of the field. There were 2 lines of 4 players that were really tight, and also Kevin De Bruyne can drop and find a 5-man line right there with Kevin De Bruyne. So very low defensive block. What's really important is these pockets right here is where Spain was just trying to fill with their players. Those pockets were very important because what Spain was just trying to do is when Baena received the ball from Fabian in the pocket, Goy can drop and just try to mark Baena, but right there is a space created that could be taken by Oyarzabal, so he can do this movement right there. That was happening not only with Baena, but let's say Rodri has the ball and then Oyarzabal, the one trying to find a pocket, and when the pass through go to Oyarzabal, Michele will reach. This time Baena could be the one that finds empty space right here and find a man with a chance of goal creation. But this could also happen if we look at Dani Olmo. Let's say he dropped to this pocket right here, and the ball was filtrated by Rodri to Oyarzabal. Then Michele goes towards Oyarzabal, and then he can find the space right here to face the box. But also, let's just take a look at what happened when the ball is just going towards the wing. The ball goes to Lamine. Michele goes here, and then the pocket was created right here to find either Oyarzabal right here, like a pass. That's how Spain was just trying spaces in this very low defensive block, like finding mans like Oyarzabal, Olmo in those pockets to bring the center backs towards them and just finding the space at their back. They also did this job during Portugal game, the goal that's called Merino at the very end as well. But also what's very important for the defensive system of Spain is these 4 players. Fabian, Rodri, Laporte, and Kouari. These four players are extremely important for the defense system of Spain. Let's just first take a look at the data. Look at the heat map of Laporte right here where he was playing. Passes right here, all the received passes right here. So when you look also at Pau Cubarsí, look at him. He was playing on the other side of the field and nothing new right there. But look at Rodri. Look at this player right here. He was all over the place. He was right here. This is a center mid that you can call a box-to-box center mid. He's covering, when you look at the passes, he's covering all the field. Look, this is just brutal by him. This is very important because when you go to the tactics, right here on the tactics, let's say Kubernetes moves forward, then the guy that can drop and just cover is always Rodri. So he's the guy that can just move in multiple directions right here. But also Fabian, when you look at Fabian, very interesting when you look at Fabian Ruiz, look at him. He's also, of course, he didn't play the whole minutes. He just played 54 minutes. He was substituted by Pedri. But he played for 54 minutes, and you could see like all the pass map is very similar to Rodri. So when you look at the heat map, of course, it's less than Rodri, but similar. And this is very important because the center backs, they have really need to be sustained by these center mids that can drop and play box to box, especially when they lost the ball and the team is on the opposite field and they have to drop for faster transition when the other team went to counterattack, which is actually what happens to Spain when you look at the biggest spaces that this team can bring, and really being a problem for teams like Spain, because look at these huge spaces, not only on the wings, but also on the center. Because if the opposite team has faster wing, Doku was creating some issues, and Trosser on the wings as well. Very important the role of both Rodri and in this case Fabian. I think this defensive system by Spain, it should be really tight and really sharp because the next game will be France. And the forward players that France has, needless to say, Mbappe, Olise, Dembele, they're very fast. So they can take advantage of the wings and the spaces Spain defense can bring into the game. So I think Rodri and Fabian, or even Pedri, if it's the player decides the coach to go in, then they really have to be very tight and sharp on that defensive system. Otherwise, I think Spain can suffer for these very fast transitions and very fast players that can take the ball and just go deep and find the spaces that can really hurt Spain. Let your comments in down below.